I'm Neely Stufflet, and I'm representing Thrivent Racing and Circle Sport Levine Family Racing here today. And I'd like to welcome Michael McDowell, driver of the number 95 Thrivent Financial Chevrolet SS. He has scored 9 top 20 finishes this season and career best finishes at 14 different racetracks this year. I'd like to also welcome Jim Morris, a high school teacher and coach who became a major league pitcher and inspired the Disney movie The Rookie, starring Dennis Quaid. Michael and Jim will talk about a community event benefiting O.D. Wyatt High School in Fort Worth this weekend. So I will turn it over to Jim to talk about his foundation and what they are doing with the high school.
Hi, everybody. Last year, about this time, I started a foundation. For me, early in my childhood, I grew up in an abusive home, and one place I could be a kid was on a baseball field. So I got to a point last year where one of my friends drug me to this high school in Fort Worth, O.D. Wyatt, and I was stunned at the lack of equipment in the field. Everything was just dilapidated. And I thought, I want to help these guys. So we started a foundation. James Avery Jewelers is on board, BSN Sports, Thrivent Racing, and this has been an amazing thing for me. Never been to a racetrack in my life. Testosterone running crazy. Even at 52, I might go back and play baseball again. Getting back to these kids, tomorrow we're having an event at O.D. Wyatt High School where we're going to unveil a lot of the equipment we've given these kids, and Michael's been pleasant enough to come out, and he wants to talk to these kids also. His philanthropy work is amazing, and he just wants to be a part of it. One of the things that I like to talk about, because of how I grew up, was at 15, my parents moved me from Florida to Texas to live with my grandparents. My grandparents were the most awesome people I've ever known in my life. And so they taught me about character, integrity, humility, grace, and faith. And they also taught me to have a sense of humor. That's what I want to bring these kids. I want these kids to have the opportunity to not only compete but excel. And right now, they will get off a bus at some school. This school will have artificial turf, 10 different uniforms, 8 different kinds of hats. And these kids, last year, the baseball coach on a teacher's salary bought these kids uniforms so they could play. I want to change that, and so we have. We've got them uniforms, we've got them gloves, bats, balls. People are coming out of the woodwork to help us. The partnership has been amazing. I look forward to hearing more of Michael's story tomorrow when he comes out to share it with the kids. These kids are socioeconomically low on a totem pole. And the coaches don't mind me saying that because they want people to be aware that every kid, no matter race, creed, or color, we all bleed red. God made us all the same way, and we're all going to be able to compete on a level playing field in between the white lines of a baseball field. So jtrnfoundation.org is my foundation with my wife. And the idea is, in between the white lines, you should be able to be the kid you're supposed to be and grow up and be able to compete. The coaches are fantastic, but some of the best athletes in the school will not come out to the field because the kids don't have anything. And so they can either be on the field and competing at some sport, or they can be on the street. I want the kids to be on the field. I want them learning about character, integrity, and grace. I want these kids to have the opportunity that last year they did not think they would have. We've already had several kids come out for baseball just because they heard that we're coming in to give them stuff. That's what I want. I want these kids to realize that we love them, everybody's the same, and we're going to be on a level playing field in between the white lines. And I don't care if it's football, basketball, baseball. I want every kid to compete because through sport, and Michael knows this as well as anybody, you learn how to compete, you learn how to be part of a team, and the team effort is what I'm trying to convey to these kids. I want them to understand you can rely on the guy next to you. If you surround yourself with the best people possible, you'll be the best you can be. If you surround yourself with questionable people, you're going to be questionable whether you do anything questionable or not. I want them to have the right things, the right tools to compete. And that's basically what we're going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to show up at the field. We're going to introduce some people, thank them for coming, and then we're going to have hot dogs, ballpark food. We're going to unveil the stuff we're going to give them and some other things that other people are coming in they don't even know about. and then we're going to have a little softball game. Now, Michael has chosen to coach against me. That will not be pleasant for Michael.
We'll see.
I compete. But we're going to split the teams up. We're going to let everybody play. And we've even got alumni from 30 years ago who want to be a part of this. So it's been an amazing trip for me. In one short year, we've gone from nothing to being a 501c3, totally accredited nonprofit, and being able to give back when I had nothing as a kid. Now to be able to give back means the world to me and my wife.
Well, that's cool. That's awesome. I mean, Jim really shared the vision and what's happening here this weekend. And for me, you know, having partners like Thrivent Financial that just help Christians to be wives of money and live generously and impact their communities, that's what we get to do tomorrow. We get to live generously, and we get to make an impact in the community. And, you know, I have one of the greatest jobs. I get paid to drive around in circles. And so to come to different cities and different places and be able to be a part of local communities and be a part of organizations that are making an impact in those local communities is really special for me. And it's going to be a fun day. I don't know a whole lot about baseball. Jim doesn't know a whole lot about racing, so we're going to be perfect together. And it's just a great opportunity for us in the NASCAR community to be able to impact and influence the local communities that we're surrounded by.
Thank you. And we will take any questions if anybody has any questions. Go ahead, Stan.
Stan Creekmore, Outside the Box. Jim, number one, you kind of brought some tears inside of me for what you're doing. But this is your chance to learn about racing as well. A lot of people don't think that racers are athletes. You obviously understand athletes. What would you say to someone who said a race car driver is not an athlete?
Well, I come from a sport where they say pitchers are not athletes, so I kind of get that. But some of the workouts I've seen these guys go through, they're in amazing shape. And to be able to sit behind a wheel and drive tirelessly around the track so many times, so close together, I can't even imagine. Michael has told me I can drive around the track tomorrow. I don't know, he just said it could. But to be a part of this and be a part of NASCAR is a blessing for me. The fellowship, the community, the teamwork, everybody has to do their job in their own little community to make the team work, and that's part of what our foundation is about.
Kenny up here.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. For Michael, I realize that you've been focused on your racing career, you know, as you moved up, but I find it kind of surprising that you say you don't know that much about baseball. I would have figured, you know, you would be pretty much a little bit of a sports nut of some type. I mean, you look athletic, in good shape and everything. Was baseball just something you never had an interest in?
You know, it's not that I didn't have any interest in any sports. I think I played t-ball. I don't know how old I was, maybe 4 or 5 years old. You know, but when I started racing go-karts at 8 years old, we did it every weekend. And I grew up in Phoenix, and you guys know that there isn't a winter in Phoenix. So we raced, 50, races a year. We raced it almost every weekend. And there was only maybe 2 weekends off throughout the year. So I never really had any extracurricular sports that I did. And then being, a student and racing and traveling, you just never followed anything. And so when I was in school, I wasn't involved in team sports because I was already racing. And so I think that that's part of the disconnect, is that had I had a sort of normal childhood, you would have sports teams and you'd have favorites and you'd play different sports. But for me, I've been focused on racing so long that I just didn't have the time to pay attention or do it. I still enjoy it though. I mean, I love playing basketball. My wife was a softball player. She played all throughout school and even beyond school a little bit too. And so it's around you, but when you're not in it and you don't do it day to day, it's hard to relate everything. So,
Any other questions? Yep. We'll go to Dustin, then Stan.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Michael, I think the last time some people saw you a week ago, you were being pulled off on a stretcher. I mean, you just looked a rough situation there. what was it like to drive the last part of that race? I understand it was dehydration. Just kind of what was the challenge there, and how are your feet? I know it sounds like the burns were going to something affect you for a while.
Yeah. I feel fine. Obviously Martinsville, that was kind of it's always a unique race. It's hot. It's very physical. But, we had such a long green flag run. I think that was a lot of it. But, the biggest thing for me is I had a few things fail inside the car, some fans. And so it was hotter than it needed to be. And, leading up to that week in Talladega, I got pneumonia. Just all those things together just didn't do a great job of hydrating, being ready for it. And then with some of the mechanical issues we had, it made it a little bit tougher. But I feel fine. My feet, yeah, they hurt. But it's not stopping me from driving. And it's just one of those things. I've burnt my feet a few times. You saw Kevin Harvick and Matt DiBenedetto. It's part of something that happens in these race cars. That the inside is so hot and the floors are so hot. And really, just one thing not working was enough to blister my feet pretty good. So, you just fight through it. It'll be fine. Adrenaline kicks in and all that stuff's fine in the race. You don't really notice it that much. It's more walking around the garage that you notice it. So I feel good, and I'm ready to finish out the year strong. I don't know. I'll show you if you want to look at them. I don't know what they are. I know they hurt, and luckily the blister hasn't popped yet, so I'm holding on to it. Maybe I'll make it through the race on Sunday, but it's like I said, it's not the first time it's happened. It's not the worst I've had it either, so I feel fortunate.
Dale McFadden, NBC Sports. Michael, we have 3 races left in Tony Stewart's Sprint Cup career. I was wondering, in the last few years, do you have an essential memory of racing against him on the track?
Oh, yeah, I have lots of memories. Tony's such a great competitor and a champion, and Texas Motor Speedway gave me a Tony Stewart bobblehead here as a gift. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but it's going to go in the hauler for a little while. But, the thing that sticks out to me more than the competition with Tony is just his generosity inside the community and the stories that you guys probably don't know, and you maybe know a few of them. But he is a man that just truly cared about this community and has done amazing things, and more than likely most people won't know that. And so when I think about Tony, I think about his career, I think about his generosity towards people in the community.
We'll go to Stan.
Yeah, Jim, I should have asked you this as well. In putting together a program like this, I'm sure the kids jumped right in to wanting to see this happen. But what about working with their parents? How cooperative were they in helping this occur?
I will tell you, at this particular high school in Fort Worth, 80% of these kids live in alternative places. They live with grandparents, they live with aunts, they live with uncles, whoever will have them. But they're still in school, so we still have a chance to save these kids. And so when you said, oh, I'm sure they jumped right in, actually, they looked at me and they went, are you for real? And so now they know that we're for real, because they're all coming to the race on Sunday. And they're going to meet Michael, and it's going to be so much fun for these kids to get them out of their neighborhoods, bring them up here, and let them see what true competition is about. I just want to teach these kids how to compete and do it in a way that will be a positive effect on everybody in their neighborhoods.
Chris,
KnightCatchFence.com. Michael, I was just wondering if you could talk about your season as a whole. It's been a pretty good season. I think something like 9 top 20 finishes and 14 career best finishes at different racetracks this season.
Yeah, it's it's a testament to how hard our teams worked. We're still a small team, Circle Sport, Levine Family Racing. We went from 15 people to 25 this year, so we've increased our team significantly. But to have those top 20s and to be building good momentum here at the end of the year has been a lot of fun. It's just a testament to everybody's hard work, and I can't explain to everybody how challenging it is to run 20th on Sunday. Even with the big teams, it can be a challenge. So for us to put together a string of finishes like we had, it's been very rewarding and really thankful. And hopefully we'll keep that momentum moving forward and just finish out the year strong. Right now we're riding this wave of momentum and good results, and we just want to keep that going.
Any last questions? Okay. We are going to do a glove exchange. So Jim has a baseball glove and Michael has driving gloves. And so I'm going to ask these guys to sign their gloves. They're going to exchange it. We'll get a couple pictures up here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put these gloves on eBay Giving early next week, and the funds will go to benefit the foundation and OD Wyatt School. So I'll ask these guys to come maybe sign and stand up and get a couple pictures here. Thank you, everybody.
I don't want to correct her. But all the money's going to go to OD Wyatt, athletic department. They need it. We're here for them. It's a great partnership. The coaches and I get along great, and they're here for the kids. Otherwise, they wouldn't be where they are. They could be anywhere they want to in the state, but they want to be at OD Wyatt High School. I also write books.
Hey, you have a lot more signing area there.
Well, we need bigger gloves.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks.